Good morning, Anish, Sakshi, and Navya. Good morning, all three of you. Am I audible clearly? Can you please text me yes or no? Please text me yes
Am I audible?
if I am audible to you clearly. Okay, thank you, Navya, Anish, thank you so much. So dear students, today we are going to start a new lesson called On the Face of It. Okay, so if you have got the textbook in front of you, you can open it. Vistas, it's supplementary reader lesson, and if you do not have, you can just concentrate on the text on your screen. Okay, so dear students, let's begin. So On the Face of It is a very educative lesson because it gives us a valuable lesson of life. Okay, what we should do when we are bogged down by the toss and turns of life, what we should do when we are undergoing the bad patch of our life or the bad phase of our life. Okay, so this is a play, two character play, I should say, because here you can find the two characters in conversation with one another, and it's as I told you, it's an educative story. So let's find out what is the story all about. So this is a play. You can see here. This is a play featuring an old man and a small boy meeting in the farmer's garden. Farmer means here old man's garden. The old man strikes up a friendship with the boy, who is very withdrawn and defiant. Okay, the old man has made friendship with a little boy, small boy, who is withdrawn and defiant. Withdrawn means who does not interact with others, and defiant means one who is very much rebelling in nature, okay, or revolting in nature. What is the bond that unites the two? We shall find out what is that, what is the chemistry, how does the chemistry between an old man and a small boy develop, okay, throughout the course of the story we shall come to know. So it's very interesting, dear students. So let's find out the reason as to what went insofar as a strong friendship between an old man and a small boy is concerned. Okay, so as is given here, the scene is in the garden of the old man. Okay, in the garden of the old man, a young boy comes, and there begins the friendship. So we shall discover their friendship now. Scene 1, Mr. Lamb's garden. Scene 1 is Mr. Lamb's garden. There is the occasional sound. Of bird song and of tree leaves rustling. Dairy's footsteps are heard as he walks slowly and tentatively through the long grass. He pauses, then walks on again. He comes round a screen of bushes so that when Mr. Lamb speaks to him, he is close at hand and Derry is startled. Okay, so the name of the boy in this play is Derry. Okay, he's a small boy. He has come to Mr. Lamb's garden. Okay, and now there will be a conversation between the two. Let's find out what is the conversation all about. Okay, so dear students, we are going to begin very shortly. Okay, so see, who is Mr. Lamb? How does Derry get into his garden? Mr. Lamb is saying, mind the apples. Derry, what? Who is that? Who is there? Mr. Lamb says, lambs by name, mind the apples. Crab apples, those are windfalls in the long grass. You could trip. Okay, so due to soaky grass you can trip. So take care. Okay, and apples have become crabbed. Okay, crab apples. Dear, Daddy says, I thought this was an empty place. So Daddy says, I thought no one lives here. Okay, when I entered the garden, when I entered your garden, I was not having the impression that somebody might be there. I thought it's all alone, all lonely. I didn't know there was anybody here. I thought nobody lives here. Next you see, Mr. Lamb, that's all right, I'm here. What are you afraid of, boy? That's all right. What are you afraid of? What makes you feel scared? That's all right. Even if I am there in front of you, you have nothing to worry, got nothing to fear. That's all right. So with his statement, Mr. Lamb is trying to reassure the boy that he has nothing to worry, even though an old man by the name of Mr. Lamb is there, he has nothing to worry. That's all right. He's trying to make the boy feel comfortable with his dialogue. Okay, with his dialogue. I thought it was empty, an empty house. Then Daddy replies, I thought the house attached to the garden is empty. No one lives here. Mr. Lamb says, so it is. Of course it is empty. Mr. Lamb says, yeah, of course it is empty. Since I am out here in the garden, it is empty. Okay. A house is empty because I am outside the house now. I am in the garden now. That is why it is empty. Until I go back inside, okay, it will remain empty. The house will remain empty. In the meantime, I am out here and likely to stop. A day like this, beautiful day, not a day to be indoors. Okay, he says, I am likely to stay back in the garden for quite some time now because it's a very beautiful day. It's a day which is worth staying outside. Okay, it's a day worth staying outside because it's a very beautiful day. Daddy now says, he becomes panic and says, I've got to go. I've got to go means I've got to leave now. Mr. Lamb says, not on my account. I don't mind who comes into the garden. The gate's always open. Only you climb the garden wall. So Mr. Lamb says, not on my account. Okay, I don't hold you back. Not on my account means I don't hold you back. You can go if you please so, or if you like so. I don't mind who comes here and who goes. Okay, the gate is always open for people, and moreover it is you who climb the garden wall. Okay, so you have every every freedom, every liberty to go away. Okay, I shall not stop you. Daddy becomes angry. You were watching me. Mr. Lamb, I saw you, but the gates open. All welcome, you are welcome. I sit here, I like sitting. He said, in my garden, everyone is welcome. I do not restrict the entry of anyone in my garden. Everyone is welcome, and you are welcome as well. I sit here in the garden because I like to spend some time here, that is in the garden. Daddy says, I did not come to steal anything. Okay, I did not come to steal anything. I have made entry into your garden not with the purpose of stealing anything. Mr. Lamb says, no, the young lad still scrump the apples. You are not so young. Okay, no, people come and they scrump the apples. Okay, but you are not so young. Daddy says, I just wanted to come into the garden. So you did. Here we are then. Mr. Lamb says, okay, that's good. You did, of course. You are with me. Then Daddy says, you don't know who I am. Mr. Lamb, a boy, 13 or so. I think you are 13 years or so. Daddy says, no, I'm 14. Pause. But I've got to go now. Goodbye. I've got to go now. Goodbye. He bids farewell to Mr. Lamb. He bids goodbye to Mr. Lamb. Mr. Lamb says, nothing to be afraid of. Just a garden, just me. You don't feel scared anymore because it's just a garden and it's just me in the garden. Okay, and you have no reason to get frightened or feel scared. Okay, it's just me. Daddy says, but I am not. I am not scared. I am not afraid. People are afraid of me. I am not afraid of people. Daddy says, but people are afraid of me. So dear students, why do you think Daddy says people are afraid of him? Okay, there is a reason we shall discover very shortly in the course of this story. Okay, but there is an important question. Daddy says, I am not afraid of people, but people are afraid of me. What could be the reason? Dear students, I am not going to reveal it now in front of you. We shall go together with the story, and then we shall discover what exactly is the reason as to why Daddy says people are afraid of me. Mr. Lamb, why should that be? Why should people be afraid of you? Daddy says everyone is. It doesn't matter who they are, or what they say, or how they look, how they pretend. I know, I can see. So Daddy says, it doesn't matter to me whether people are scared of me or not, okay? Or it doesn't matter to me what they say about me, or how they look, how they pretend. How they pretend means how they feign in front of me, how they how they act in front of me. I don't bother about all this, okay? Then I can see. Mr. Lamb says, see what they think. I can understand what they think. I can understand. See, I can see means I can understand. What can Daddy understand? Daddy says that I can understand what people think after looking at me, or after catching a glimpse of me. What do the people think about me after catching a glimpse of me? I can read their mind. I know what they think about me. What do they think then? Then Daddy says, you think. Here is a boy, you look at me and then you see my face and you think that's bad. Okay? The Daddy is also trying to draw the attention of Mr. Lamb towards his face. What is so special in his face? Let's discover now. Here is a boy, Daddy says, here is a boy, you look at me and then you see my face and you think that's bad. My face is bad. That's a terrible thing. That's the ugliest thing I ever saw. You think. So after you see my face, Daddy says to Mr. Lamb, you shall also realize that that's the ugliest thing you have ever seen, because my face is very, very ugly. You think. Okay? So Daddy says that after you see my face, you will think that it's a terrible thing. That's the ugliest thing that you have seen on my face. Okay? Now let's find out. Poor boy, you think, poor boy, but I am not poor boy, not poor. Underneath, you are afraid. Anybody would be, I am. But you might think I am poor boy, but you shall be afraid of seeing my face. Anybody would become afraid of seeing my face. I am also afraid of my face. When I look in the mirror and see it, I am afraid of me. When I look in the mirror, when I look my face in the mirror, I too become scared. I am afraid of myself. Okay? Mr. Lamb says, no, not the whole of you, not of you. Mr. Lamb is trying to install confidence in the boy, saying that no, not the whole of you, no, not the whole of you, not of you, nothing to be scared of. Daddy says yes. Then Daddy pauses. Then Mr. Lamb says, later on when it's a bit cooler, I'll get the ladder and a stick and pull down those crab apples. They are ripe for it. I make jelly. It's a good time of year, September. Look at them, orange and golden. That's magic fruit, I often say. But it's best picked and made into jelly. You could give me a hand. Okay? So here you can see, dear students, Mr. Lamb is trying to distract Daddy from the topic that he has initiated, okay? Because if he does not distract Daddy, if he does not deviate from what Daddy is trying to say to Mr. Lamb, then Master Daddy might be very much scared, or might be very much nervous. Therefore, Mr. Lamb wants to distract Daddy from the discussion that Daddy has initiated, and he's talking. Therefore, he's talking about the crab apples and all this, how they will collect those apples, and Mr. Lamb is trying to get help from Daddy so that they are diverted from the topic. Daddy, what have you changed the subject for? Now Daddy has become angry. He's saying, what have you changed the subject for? Why did you change the topic? People always do that. People always do their topic whenever they talk about my face. Why don't you ask me? You ask me the reason why I have developed such an ugly face. Why do you do what they all do and pretend it's not true and isn't there? Okay, whenever people talk to me, whenever they ask me, and then they also divert from the topic and they pretend that it is not true. But I want you to know the reason as to what compelled me to have such face. Okay, in case I see you looking and mind and get upset, in case I see you looking and mind and get upset, is it the reason for which you are diverted the topic, for which you change the topic? Is it because of the fact that I shall mind and I shall get upset? I'll tell you, you don't ask me because you are afraid too. I shall tell you the story of my face. You don't have to ask me because you are afraid to ask. You feel uncomfortable to ask me the story of my face. Mr. Lion says, you want me to ask? Say so then. Okay, so if you want me to ask, then you please describe the story of your face. Daddy says, I don't like being with people, any people. Daddy says, I don't like being with people. Okay, I don't like to be in the company of the people, any kind of people for that matter. Why? Because people do not enjoy my company just because of my ugly face. Mr. Lamb says, I should say, to look at it, I should say, you got burned in a fire. So Mr. Lamb is making gases at this, making his guess at this point. Okay, he's saying, he presumes his ugly face to be a burned face in a fire. Then Daddy says, not in a fire. I got acid all down that side of my face and it burned it all away. It ate my face up. It ate me up. And now it's like this and it won't ever be any different. Okay, it's not fire that has caused my, that has burnt my face. It's the acid. Acid has eaten my face up. It has eaten me up. And now it's like that. I cannot change the other side of my face because it's got burned by the acid. So you see, this is the face. This is his face. You can see here, dear students. So one side of his face has got burned by the acid actually. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, now you see Mr. Lamb says, no, aren't you interested? No. What is no all about? Let's find out. And now it's like this and it won't be ever be any different. Okay, then Mr. Lamb says, no, why won't it be different? Then he says, aren't you interested? Aren't you interested to listen to me? Mr. Lamb says, you are a boy who came into the garden. Plenty do. Okay, like many boys, you have also come to my garden. I'm interested in anybody. I'm interested in everybody. Okay, so I'm interested in you also, to know the story about you. Anything. I'm interested in anybody and anything. There is nothing God made that does not interest me. Everything that exists in the universe, everything that is made by God interests me. So I am equally interested in your matters. Look over there. Then Mr. Lamb is trying to draw the attention of Daddy to some other place. Look over there, over beside the far wall. What can you see? Daddy says, rubbish. Rubbish? Look boy, look. What do you see? Just grass and stuff, weeds. Daddy says, other side of the park, other side of the, beside the far wall, Daddy says, I can see the rubbish. Mr. Lamb says, rubbish? Look boy, look. What do you see? What do you see there? Daddy says, just grass and stuff, weeds. I can see the weeds. Then Mr. Lamb says, some call them weeds. If you like, then a weed garden that. There is fruit and there are flowers and trees and herbs, all sorts. but over there weeds. Over there, what is there? Near the wall, it is there weeds. I grow weeds there. Why is one green growing plant called a weed and another flower? What is the difference? It's all life, growing, same as you and me. So dear students, this is a very beautiful sentence. Okay, so it needs highlighting. Okay, it needs highlighting because it's very educative and it's very motivational, philosophical sentence, dear students. So you've got to learn this. Okay, this is very interesting. What does Mr. Lamb want to say through these lines? Okay, what does he want to say? You see here, Mr. Lamb says one part of the garden, you can say, one part of the garden you can call them weeds. Another part of the garden there's fruit and flowers and trees and herbs. Okay, all are green. But why? Weeds are also green growing plants. But why some people call it weed and another flower? What is the difference? It's all life, growing, same as you and me. Weeds are also growing, flowers are also growing. Okay, so this is the magic of life. This is the hardcore reality of life. Okay, on the one hand there are weeds, on the other hand, flowers, fruits, okay, trees, etc. It's all life. Life consists of both flowers as well as weeds. Okay, same as you and me, the way both of us are growing in our age, as well as weeds are growing, flowers are growing, trees are growing. Okay, so this is the rule of the universe, that both weeds as well as flowers, they grow together and they coexist in nature. Okay, they coexist in nature. Understood? So by this statement, Mr. Lamb wants to say that doesn't matter if your face is burned. It doesn't matter. You are very much a part of the mainstream society. Okay, you are very much a part of the mainstream society. It doesn't matter. Okay, you don't consider yourself like weeds. Okay, because you are a very important part of the ecosystem of the mainstream human society. Okay, like weeds are an integral part of the nature. Okay, therefore now that you have got a burned face, you don't alienate yourself. You are very much a part of a mainstream society. Okay, therefore you are an integral part of the entire ecosystem. Okay, in the same way weeds and flowers are integral to nature. In the same way, you and me are also an integral part of the mainstream society. Therefore, there's nothing to feel bad about your face. Okay, bad about your face. Like there is positivity in everything. We should not consider the face value of all the things. Okay, because if we consider the face value of everything, then we may end up being unhappy. Okay, we've got to see the inner quality. Okay, we've got to see what a person consists of, not just his or her outward appearance. So this is something which is philosophical for a small boy like Derry, of course, but there is a very important message lying underneath the statement of Mr. Lamb. Okay, Derry does not understand the meaning of what Mr. Lamb has said. Therefore Derry says, we are not the same. You and me are not the same. Mr. Lamb says, of course, I am old, you are young, you've got a burned face, I've got a thin leg. So Mr. Lamb is also not a normal human being. He's got a thin leg. But in spite of having a thin leg, Mr. Lamb says, not important. This is not important. A thin leg or a burned face, that doesn't make difference. You are standing there, I am sitting here. What is the difference? Okay, he says, you are standing there and I am sitting here. What is the difference? Then Day doesn't understand the meaning of this. Why have you got a thin leg? He asked Mr. Lamb back. Real one got blown off years back. Lay me lamb, some kids say. Haven't you heard them? You will. Lay me lamb. It fits. Doesn't it trouble me? Okay. Some children, Mr. Lamb says, some children call me lay me lamb because he's lame. Okay, he's lame. He's got a thin leg. That is why some children call him lay me lamb. But Mr. Lamb doesn't become carried away by the fun and by the criticism that the children do. Many people do, because he has become immune to all sorts of criticism in life. Mr. Lamb has become now very much mature. He does not look at life from the face value. Okay, he does not look at himself from his thin leg point of view. So Mr. Lamb wants Derry also to consider, not to consider him from his burnt face point of view. Okay, he should see him as a human being, a very much integral part of the mainstream society. Okay, so this is what Mr. Lamb is trying to convey to Derry, but Derry, being a very small boy, will not be able to understand the philosophical message that Mr. Lamb conveys to him at this particular juncture. Therefore, you shall find that Derry has become confused and asked Mr. Lamb back the meaning, the real implication of his statement. Okay, so now let's find out. Derry says, but you can put on trousers and cover it up and no one sees. They don't have to notice and stare. Derry says, of course you can cover up your thin leg, you can put on trousers, people will not see me, but what about mine? What about my face? I cannot cover my face. So this is where the difference lies. This is where the this is where I am in a worse position than you. Mr. Lamb says some do. Okay, some do stare at me, some don't. They get tired of it in the end. There's plenty of other things to stare at, like my Daddy says, like my face. So Mr. Lamb means to say that there are plenty of things to stare at. So people will look today, people will look tomorrow, people might stare day after tomorrow, but after that, they will become used to seeing my lame leg, and it doesn't matter much. Okay, not only do the people will get immune to seeing my lame leg, but also I shall develop immunity against staring from people. Therefore, he says it doesn't matter at the end of the day. The Daddy says, like my face, people also stare at my face. Mr. Lamb says, like crab apples or the weeds or a spider climbing up a silken ladder or my tall sunflowers, things. It's all relative. Then Mr. Lamb wants to say that like people stare at my crab apples, they also stare at the weeds, spider climbing, but climbing ladder, or my tall sunflowers. Everywhere people have their gaze. People stare at even all the objects that I am having. So it doesn't matter much. But Derry says they are things and we are human beings. There's a difference between things and human beings. But Mr. Lamb says it's all relative. Beauty and the beast. Beauty and the beast. They are all relative. Okay, things and human beings, they are all relative, because they all coexist with one another in nature. Therefore, all are relative. Beauty and beast are also relative. Let's see what Mr. Lamb means by this particular statement. They are all relative, beauty and the beast. Let's see how it justifies this statement. Derry says, what's that supposed to mean? I don't understand, because Derry is a small boy, he is not supposed to understand philosophical statement. Mr. Lamb says, you tell me. Okay? Derry says, you needn't think they haven't all told me that fairy story before. It's not what you look like, it's what you are inside. Handsome is as handsome does. Okay? So Derry is now quoting some more philosophical statements which were spoken to Derry by other people. Okay, other people, because other people also, it seems, wanted to motivate Derry and wanted him to forget his burned face. Therefore they have also come up with philosophical statements which Derry is reproducing here. He is reproducing in front of Mr. Lamb here. So what are those philosophical statements that people earlier have spoken to Derry with an objective of motivating him? They said, it's not what you look like, it's what you are inside. People earlier said to him that it's not what you look like, but what you are inside that matters. And then people also said, handsome is as handsome does. Handsome is as handsome does. He can be considered to be handsome who does handsome things. Okay, only because you are having handsome look does not make you handsome. You've got to do something handsome to be qualified to be called as handsome. So these are the philosophical statements. These are the hardcore statements that other people have also spoken to, or told Derry earlier in order to motivate him, which Derry is reproducing here. Okay. Beauty loved the monstrous beast for himself, and when she kissed him, he changed into a handsome prince. Only he wouldn't. He would have stayed a monstrous beast, I won't change. Okay. And Derry is also quoting a story here. Beauty loved the monstrous beast for himself, and when she kissed him, he changed into a handsome prince. But only he wouldn't. He would have stayed a monstrous beast, I won't change. So you can imagine what kind of inferiority complex Derry is suffering from. Derry says that even if beauty kisses me, I shall remain the same. Okay, he would have stayed a monstrous beast. Only he wouldn't. He would have stayed a monstrous beast. I won't change. He said, but I am not fortunate enough like the monstrous beast who got kissed by a beauty. I won't change. I am a human being. I don't believe in any fairy tale. Therefore, I shall not change. Mr. Lamb, in that way, no, you won't. In that way, you won't change. Derry says, and no one will kiss me ever. No one will kiss me ever, because I've got a burned face on the other side. Only my mother, and she kisses me on the other side of my face. And I don't like my mother to kiss me. She does it because she has to. Why should I like that? I don't care if nobody ever kisses me. So Derry says that it's only my mom, it's only my mother who kisses me, and that too she kisses on the other side of my cheek where there is no acid burn. But I don't like that. Mom, being a mom, she will kiss me on the other side also, but I don't care if nobody ever kisses me. But there is an underlying pain in him. There is an underlying pain in Derry, okay, because of his burned face. Therefore, he is saying in this way. He is, with his statement, he is saying that he is not at all concerned about this, but in reality he is really concerned, because he thinks that nobody will ever kiss him because of his burned face. Mr. Lamb, but do you care if you never kiss them? But do you care if you never kiss them? But do you at all care? They won't kiss you. It's okay. You said you don't care about. But what about you? What about you? You don't feel like kissing anybody. Derry says, what? Girls, pretty girls, long hair and large eyes, people you love. Then Mr. Lamb is explaining, is becoming a bit romantic and explaining to Derry, pretty girls I'm talking about. Derry says, who would let me? Not one. Nobody would kiss me. Who can tell? Mr. Lamb says, who can tell? Daddy says, I won't ever look different. When I'm as old as you, I look the same. I won't ever look different from what I'm looking today. Even when I become as old as you were, I shall remain the same. I will still only have half a face. Mr. Lamb, so you will, but the world won't. So you will, but the world won't. The world will change. The world's got a whole face, and the world's there to be looked at. Daddy, do you think this is the world, this old garden? Mr. Lamb, when I'm here, not the only one, but the whole world, as much as anywhere. Does your leg hurt you? Tin doesn't hurt, boy. When it came off, did it? Certainly it did hurt me when it came off. Okay, so dear students, let me stop here because I've got another class scheduled at 11:50. So I've got to take leave of you today. When I resume my lesson on the next day, I shall explain you from here. I shall start from here, okay, because it requires some more explanation. This particular part, the world's got a whole face and the world's there to be looked at. Okay, from there I will start my explanation. Okay, so please do remind me, 60, page number 60. Remember, I'm towards the fag end of page number 60, and I shall start my explanation from this particular highlighted part. Okay, it will take some time. I'm having some other class, dear students. Okay, so thank you so much for your on-screen presence, and we shall take leave of one another for the day. Thank you so much for staying with me and listening to the lecture. It's a very, very interesting, educative and motivational story, dear students. So I request you not to miss any of the lectures from this particular story. Okay, it shall comprise of at least 4 lectures because it's a big story. Okay, I shall try to wrap it up in 3 lectures, but it might extend to 4th lecture also. So I request you to be present throughout the entire duration of my 4 lectures from this lesson. This is a very motivational, very educative lesson for each one of us. Okay, so dear students, thank you so much, and have a nice day. In the meanwhile, I shall update the lesson notes from A Thing of Beauty, and as and when I'm ready with my content, I shall send you a link. Okay, at the moment I'm busy with the paper evaluation, but I shall be through with the paper evaluation by tomorrow evening, and hopefully from day after tomorrow I shall upload the content of A Thing of Beauty. Okay, and after I upload, I shall certainly send you the link for you to write down on your English notebook. Thank you, dear students. Thank you so very much. Have a nice day.